Welcome back to NTV at 1. The United Nations designated July the 30th as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons to raise awareness of the devastating issue and to promote the protection of people's basic human rights. This year, the focus is on highlighting the importance of government action in the interest of victims of trafficking. Human trafficking takes on various forms and can be within and beyond a country's borders, and a country is an exception. Now, this afternoon, as the country marks the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, we take a closer look at what is being done to address this vice by the government and other local and international stakeholders. We are joined by Ms. Lydia Buite, who is the Program Officer at the Platform for Labour Action. Welcome to NTV at 1.
Thank you.
Now, today's events are mainly to create awareness and taking a look at the forms of trafficking in persons. Uganda as a country, where do we stand? What forms do we have to deal with?
First of all, Uganda as a country, we are a source, transit and destination country, and therefore we have both internal and also transnational trafficking in person. In fact, often than not, we focus so much on the transnational trafficking in person, but actually we have a lot of internal trafficking affecting mostly the children coming from the Karamoja region and other regions. For example, the domestics whom we have in our homes, some of them are victims of trafficking in person, and often Uganda as a community, we request for the young ones to come and work in our communities. But also we have the transnational victims of trafficking in person, especially those who are going to work. People who are seeking for work, some of them are ending up as victims of trafficking in person. Now, of course, there is a difference between those who have gone through the proper labor migration processes and those who have been illegally recruited by illegal recruiters or traffickers. So we are seeing many of these, and because the whole challenge is all about the unemployment rate that is affecting many young people, the youth, the economy can only, I think, produce about 400 jobs. Okay, and yet we are producing over 40,000 young people every year from universities, technical institutions. So the challenge of unemployment, when it comes to the transnational trafficking, many young people, women are being lured by traffickers, by illegal recruiters for work opportunities abroad. So the internal is basically them, they come in, work as domestic workers, the street begging as we've seen it, and you know, sort of it becoming like normalized in the country, and other sectors like the bars, lodges. So that is where we are seeing most of this internal trafficking as well as transnational.
Who would we say is the biggest, most affected group of people? Is it the women? Is it the children? Is it the men when it comes to this vice in our country?
Now, the most affected are the women and children. And if we had an entire day, I could explain business as to why the women and children are the most affected or most victims of trafficking in person or illegal recruitment or whatever form that you want to put it. Why? Because women, we are very vulnerable and we easily accept certain things with her. Now, children sort of like have no, in most cases, they have no option. It is the parents sending them, the guardians, so, and especially those children who are orphans or they have only one parent, and then of course the whole issue of extended families. So the women and the children, and of course the men also, but at least the women and children are most affected.
Well, as you talk about awareness, we also need to take a look at the efforts. Day in, day out within media reports, we continue to see people who are taken into labor externalization, and the stories are quite horrifying.
Yes.
Now, our country, as the Ministry of Gender and Labour, on the 26th of June, decided to sign a memorandum of understanding with the United Arab Emirates, all to protect and formalize this kind of situation within our country. But what more efforts do we need to see from the government, from the public, and from you and I?
Well, one of the other efforts we need to see, especially from the government, is monitoring. The monitoring of the recruitment campaigns is very, very, very important and very key, because most of the cases that we've seen that as a result of not monitoring the recruitment campaigns, especially when these young people reach the destination countries, who is monitoring them, what are conditions? But also, of course, as a government, we expect to see that they come up with shelters for the victims, as well as funds, like maybe a youth fund for people who want to go and work abroad, so they are not hoodwinked. Because often than not, there is sort of like a debt bondage by the recruiters. They do each and everything, and then when this person reaches their side, sort of like you are bonded into this relationship. You cannot just get out. There is that bonding that they are making these people go through. So I think what needs to be done is monitoring is very important. We need to strengthen the laws, but now we only have a regulation, and the regulation cannot really govern the entire sector of exploitation of labor. We need a policy, a proper policy of its own, and perhaps a law of its own, so that we are able to understand this person, also regulate the actors in that particular sector.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Miss Lydia Bwete, for joining us on NTV at 1. She is the Program Officer Platform for Labor Action, trying to help create awareness when it comes to World Day Against Trafficking in Persons.